Oh my god, I just realized the title. The title says the last hairbender.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is a masterclass in how to apply subtle storytelling, thus being able to really track the character's emotional states and personal development through minor shifts in their character design. And of all these minor shifts, changes to their hair appear to be the most consistent and memorable ones the creators choose to employ. Zuko is the character that typically comes to mind first when discussing this phenomenon, as he's easily the character that undergoes the most dramatic shift. But in actuality, we can easily see other examples of this in Aang, Katara, Sokka, Azula, and Iroh, with the growth or cutting of hair taking on radically different meanings depending on the character that's undergoing the change. So, without further ado, let's talk a bit about the hair symbolism of Avatar. When it comes to discussing this phenomenon, people immediately and instinctually poke fun at Aang, as Aang doesn't actually have hair for the overwhelming majority of the show. Yet I feel this approach is a slight disservice to Aang, because his hair, or lack thereof, still reveals important qualities in regards to his character. For the majority of the series, Aang prefers a shaved head to pay tribute to and maintain his connection to his air nomad roots. And when taking a look at this as a whole, there are 3 reasons provided for why air nomads traditionally choose to shave their heads. So let's examine each. The first and most obvious reason is that shaving your head is something that denotes your devotion and discipline. Hair is such an important aspect of your personal identity that making the choice to shave your head in solidarity with other members of your community indicates unity. The fact the air nomads subscribe to this tradition is most likely a reference to the Tibetan Buddhist monks they are modeled after, and in Buddhism, shaving your head is a part of Patpacha, a term referring to the act of leaving your home to live amongst ordained monks, with this being the first step in the process to become a proper monk. In this moment, it is a purifying act, symbolizes a self for the masses, while traits associated with spiritual. The second reason air nomads traditionally seem to shave their heads is that it allows their arrow tattoos to be more prominently displayed. These tattoos are something air nomads take a tremendous amount of pride in, as they are symbols that publicly indicate their personal mastery of airbending. But not only are they indicative of their physical skill and mental prowess, the tattoos heavily tie into their spirituality. The arrows follow the flow of chi, the spiritual energy that allows for bending to be practiced at all throughout the body, which is clarified in series as naturally starting at the base of the spine before moving towards the forehead. In tattooing the arrows that follow the flow of this chi, the air nomads are able to provide themselves permanent, concrete, visible reminders of the places they best ought to draw their energy from, allowing them a reference point with which to easily ground themselves and enter a meditative state that would better facilitate bending. The third reason is one actually confirmed in Legend of Korra, in which it's revealed there's a more practical reason air nomads would traditionally want to shave their heads. That is that a shaved head allows the air nomads to better sense vibrations in the air. There's even a character that's able to evade a sneak attack this way, meaning that shaving your head ultimately also confers a defensive benefit, useful for a nation whose fighting tactics are centered around evasion. The only time Aang doesn't have his head shaved is after being struck by Azula's lightning at the end of Book 2. During the weeks in which he is unconscious between Books 2 and 3, his hair naturally grows in and obscures his tattoos. This is the point in the story that marks what is arguably Aang's lowest low. Not only has he failed to stop the infiltration of Ba Sing Se, he's been defeated to the extent the general public believes him to be dead, thus marking the second death of the Avatar and robbing Aang of a core aspect of his identity. To make poor matters worse, the true physical ties he once had to his culture have been marred, the base of the arrow on his back being distorted by a lightning strike and the top being hidden by hair that he never would have wanted to grow under ordinary circumstances. It's something that signifies a loss of autonomy that he cannot hope to regain in his current condition, with infiltrating the Fire Nation requiring him to hide his arrows completely and grow out his new hair even more to assimilate. However, he isn't the only character that has to relinquish beloved cultural ties, with Katara having to hide her mother's necklace and restyle her hair without her signature loops. Yet during the Days of the Black Sun, an episode in which the gang has concocted a plan that they are confident will culminate with the defeat of Fire Lord Ozai, Aang is finally able to shave his head and once again reclaim his identity as the Avatar. And while though this plan doesn't quite go exactly how our heroes imagined that it would, this is the moment that marks the peak of Aang's maturity. Now, he is no longer afraid to embrace his destiny as the Avatar, charging it head on instead of running from it, with him displaying this same driven sense of purpose for the rest of the series. However, most importantly, Aang shaving his head again could be interpreted as him recommitting himself to the philosophies of the Air Nomads, with him managing to defeat Fire Lord Ozai in a fashion that coincides with the principles that he personally holds most dear. Toph's hairstyle similarly remains almost remarkably consistent, considering that Toph's only appropriate frame of reference for how it's supposed to be styled is how it feels versus what it looks like. Tumblr user Avatar Culture was the first to point out that Top's hairstyle is heavily shaped off a popular Tang Dynasty hairstyle known as Gao Ji, which literally translates into high hairstyle. While beautiful, just by looking at it, this gives the impression of a complicated, time-consuming hairstyle that would easily become undone in conflict, something that doesn't quite align with rough and tumble practical Top. And yet, if we examine how one's hair was perceived in the Tang Dynasty, the cutting of your hair was something only performed in the event of the death of a spouse or a parent, something to signify a partial death of oneself. And for all the conflict between Top and her parents, the maintenance of this hairstyle shows that Top can clearly not bring herself to sever that connection, still taking care to maintain the most public symbol of her relationship to them. Sokka is another character where this phenomenon may appear more subtly, as Sokka, like Aang, retains a similar hairstyle for the majority of the show. Like Katara, Sokka also wears a cultural hairstyle popular among the men of his tribe, with this style being known as a warrior's wolf tail. However, the series hints to us that Sokka's wolf tail doesn't quite look the way that it's supposed to, with it likely not being as long or as thick as that of the other warriors. Katara even pokes fun at him, claiming that what he's wearing is more akin to a ponytail. And on an extremely literal level, a wolf pup's tail is significantly shorter and thinner than that of its adult counterpart, hinting that although Sokka desperately wants to be perceived as a warrior, he still has yet to fully mature into that role. But regardless, that is the way that Sokka perceives himself. Having your hair tied back like this makes combat more convenient, and showcases that Sokka is ready for a fight at virtually any time. In the instances where he wears his hair down, it's typically in more relaxed settings, most commonly when he's asleep or about to go to bed. Sokka's wolf tail is also unique in that the sides of his head are shaped to accentuate it, because this is the first quality Sokka wants people to take note of when they look at him, when in reality, it seems the men of his tribe actually grow out the sides to accompany the length of the tail, something that Sokka actually does in later episodes, better reflecting the image of the warrior he wished to become. While Katara also wears a similar cultural hairstyle, Katara's hair undergoes a far more drastic change throughout the course of the series. Katara begins Avatar with her hair styled in a single neat braid down her back with her signature hair loops. These signature hair loops actually being modeled after a real Inuit hairstyle called Galikti, the loops typically being fully braided in real life. While I struggle to find the exact implications of this hairstyle or any information regarding the connection the Canadian Inuit have to their hair, there are numerous Indigenous American groups that perceive their hair as a sacred, intrinsic aspect of their identities. While the exact meaning fluctuates group to group, hair can signify anything from a connection to the earth to the ties to your community, with the act of braiding each other's hair being a bonding activity that reinforces the value of your personal connections and relationships. And when examining both the Northern and Southern Water tribe, we see that both men and women, as a general rule of thumb, keep their hair long. Part of the reason that it's so important for Katara to maintain this hairstyle throughout the series is that it's a public connection to her heritage and culture. This isn't just a public display of love, but of defiance, the two qualities that Katara is arguably most heavily driven by. At the beginning of the series, you'll notice that Katara's hair loops are significantly looser than they are at the end, this looseness implicating playfulness, innocence, youth, with the loops growing progressively tighter and more fixed to her scalp as she grows, matures, and progresses. But from a more practical and heart-wrenching perspective, there's also the possibility the reason that her braids are so much looser at the start is that she struggles to do them without her mother. Take a look at how much tighter her braids are in the scenes where she's a small child versus after her mother is killed, and think of how a little girl's braids look when they attempt to do them on their own for the first time versus when their mother does them. This progressive tightening potentially indicates that Katara has now learned to survive on her own, and can now care for herself. While Katara's main braid also signifies a similar connection to her community, there are numerous indigenous cultures that perceive a braid as being an inherently stronger entity than singular strands of hair, this idea signifying the simple notion that there is strength in unity and strength in numbers. Other indigenous cultures may perceive braids as being symbolic of the union of body, mind, and spirit. And while you could certainly pose the argument that Katara does not begin the series harboring this sort of unity, the moments in the series in which her braid becomes undone most certainly symbolize a disruption of it. Katara's braids most commonly become undone in moments of intense conflict where she is specifically losing, when fighting Pakku, for instance. These are not only moments in the series that challenge Katara physically, they force her to reevaluate the beliefs that she's harbored thus far, and mark the moments in which she can better define her desires and worldview. For example, fighting Pakku forces Katara to reevaluate the extent to which she's willing to adhere to old tradition, after witnessing just what stubborn adherence ultimately cost Pakku and could have cost her Gran. These moments of unraveling allow Katara to reassemble and repiece her worldview with a fresh, broadened perspective, and mark the moments of the series in which she internalizes her most important lessons. Yet there is a distinct moment in which this braid unravels in which it's never redone, and that is the moment the gang infiltrates the Fire Nation. Like Aang, Katara must rid herself of a beloved tie to her people. But with the removal of this tie also comes a radical challenge to every belief she's previously harbored about the Fire Nation and the people that reside within it. The information Katara learns in these instances is fundamentally incompatible with her previous perceptions of the world, of the nature of good and evil, and of what constitutes justice. And while Katara redoes her hair loose, she never braids her hair again. Although Katara retains her connection to the culture and community she values so deeply, she has decided to define and interact with the world in accordance with the unique view her experiences have bestowed upon her. This allowing her to attain a sort of unique freedom without constraint she maintains till the end of the series. Now for our Fire Nation characters. The Fire Nation is a nation that has an intricate, concrete, in-universe explanation for the relationship the citizens generally have with their hair. The Rise of Kyoshi states that in the Fire Nation, hair is heavily linked with honor. Losers of an important Ethnikai would shave parts of their head bald, laying patches of their scalp bare to symbolize an extra level of humility from their defeat. But the top knot was always sacred, never touched except in circumstances akin to death. Furthermore, in Rise of Kyoshi, Kyoshi's romantic partner allows her to kiss and touch her hair, an act that cements the closeness and intimacy of their relationship. However, circling back to the top knot's sacred nature, this knowledge makes the moment in which Iroh and Zuko cut theirs off all the more impactful. For them to explicitly cut their hair over just letting their top knots loose signifies permanent severance from their nation, culture, and status as nobility, and all that's associated with such. The Fire Nation top knot also bears a strong resemblance to a traditional Japanese hairstyle known as a chonmoge, commonly associated with samurai and nobility. To cut this was to display public disgrace or loss of honor. The act of Zuko cutting his is what marks the moment in which he begins to learn to define the concept of honor on his own terms. As Book 2 progresses and Zuko spends time in the Fire Nation as a refugee, his hair slowly regrows. This is the first time in Zuko's life that he is presented the opportunity to reevaluate and explore his identity in a context beyond the role that he was born into as Fire Lord Ozai's son. As Zuko gradually comes to the realization that he does not have to adhere to his father's goals of conquest in order to be a fulfilled and honorable person, the length of his hair increases, and remains loose up until the Book 2 finale, The Crossroads of Destiny, where he embraces his Fire Nation roots once more at the expense of Iroh and the Avatar. For the first half of Season 3, we see him with his signature top knot, and yet although he's clearly had the physical symbol of his honor restored, for Zuko, there's no joy in this victory. It's not until the moment that he retreats from the Fire Nation once again and undoes his top knot that he's able to find the fulfillment that he craves. And yet, know that in this particular example, Zuko merely unties his top knot over cutting it. He is making the deliberate choice to not abandon his identity as a member of the Fire Nation. He is merely forsaking the principles they conduct themselves by to adhere to his own. While Zuko does assume the customary Fire Nation top knot when he becomes Fire Lord, this moment occurs after the defeat of Fire Lord Ozai and the philosophy that he reigned the Fire Nation under. And now, in the wake of this moment, Zuko can proudly reintegrate the symbol of honor into his day-to-day dress, knowing that he now is fully worthy of wearing it. Yet where Zuko's hair is defined by its growth, Azula's is defined according to its shortening. Azula is actually first presented to the audience as a person that never has so much a hair out of place, instantly framing her as a person that strives for nothing less than perfection in all things, and who has devoted her life to ensuring that she is revered in every room she enters. In her eyes, even the most benign, minor flaws in her presentation are unacceptable, and whereas Zuko altering his original hair implicates healing, growth, and renewal, Azula doing the same implicates self-destruction. For the majority of the series, any noticeable alterations to Azula's hair aren't made consciously, with her loose hair being the product of her battles. But the point in which she does start altering it arguably marks the beginning of the end. Take for instance the battle between her and Zuko, in which she catches herself on the side of a cliff using her hairpin. This is a moment where her ability to survive is contingent on her ability to sacrifice a symbol indicative of honor, composure, and nobility, hinting at how far Azula is willing to go to attain her goals. As her coronation nears and pressure mounts, we start witnessing her impulsively banish more and more people, the first scene in which she does so being one in which she's having her hair done, an act previously established as being one linked to intimacy and community. All things Azula explicitly rejects in the pursuit of perfection, which leads us to the moment that she cuts her hair. Azula cutting her hair isn't an act of severance in the way that it is for Zuko. It's a desperate attempt to retain some element of control in an instance where it's actively slipping away from her. If Azula cannot retain control over something, her hair in this example, then in her eyes it best ought to be destroyed. This is the moment that marks her complete and utter psychological unraveling, with her altering her hair to a state in which it cannot properly be returned to the style that she prefers. This is symbolism that further carries to Korra, but that's a story for another day. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to take the time to like, comment, and subscribe. And here's an extra special thank you to our Patreons. What we do would not be possible without your support. If you would like to count yourself among them, the link is in my bio. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.
You see, Mega Cyber Herpes, I made an account and logged in. It called itself an MMORPG, and I love MMORPGs, so I happily gave it a go, and it was awful, so I recorded myself playing it for an hour just to mock it. In fact, at the time, I thought it might be the worst MMO ever, so I called the video that. Little did I know how wrong I was, but this would mark the start of my journey into the MMO underworld. Look at me, so young, so full of hope. I knew nothing about dark patterns or how to white balance a camera. Then they made a sequel, League of Angels, Heaven's Fury, and I played that too, and that became episode 2 in the worst MMO ever series, and thus the idea to play every MMO in order to find the worst one was born. And now, 4 years on, they've made another, League of Angels Pact. So we return to the start. I've had 4 years to learn how to make better YouTube videos, and you've had 4 years to learn how to make a better game, so let's do this again. Just like old times. I sure do hope this is just a bad game and not actual straight-up copyright infringement using artworks from Wizards of the Coast, Riot Games, or Arkham Horror. Foreshadowing is a literary device which... It's owned by H. Bomber Guy, and I would never plagiarize. Yeah. Let's keep it that way. Welcome, I'm Joff Stripe-Hayes, and this is Worst MMO Ever, a series where I play every MMO I can find in a journey to find the worst. Drop a like on the vid or sub to the channel for more MMO stuff, and ring the bell for all the future notifications, and as always, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon to keep the channel alive. More information on how you can support at the end. But now, let's begin. League of Angels Pact is the 5th game in the social experiment about how many upgrade systems you can force into a game before it implodes. It's only 250 megabytes, so unfortunately it downloads really quickly. The screenshots made the game look quite intense, so I used Can I Run It to see if my PC could handle this, and the site just told me it was disappointed in me. Speaking of intense, this is the page, and the music of the trailer is far, far too epic.
How do you still live?
To the actual game sounding like this. That's not edited. They've taken Celestial War and gone with ambient, cozy game music. Now, the Steam page even advertises, use AFK. You see, League of Angels is basically a game which plays itself, which paradoxically makes it the perfect game for people who don't want to play League of Angels, and the absolute worst game for people who do want to play League of Angels. So we download, launch, here's the world building. Ragnarok arrived. The world was in darkness. The angels fell into a curse that made them sleep, and no, that's all you get. I didn't click, it's just timed. If you don't read fast enough, you don't get the story. That's a skill issue, that's on you. Read faster. Now choose a character and roll a random name, and my god, choose quickly, because if you don't click anything in 10 seconds, the game just picks for you and starts. More plot. Wake up an angel to fight against evil together by signing a pact with her. Go to Valhalla to find one. Then choose either fire or ice, Miquella or glacier. And now you're in the abyss killing demons. Welcome to the game, good luck figuring everything out. I would say behold combat, but this is the entire game, so behold the rest of the video. So that's you, dude with the sword. And while it may look like I'm hacking and slashing and moving and making choices, I assure you, dear viewer, I am not, because autoplay is not currently turned on, and yet the game is autoplaying. This is the level of autoplay the game just naturally rests at when autoplay is turned off. It only gets more automated from here. So the very basic gameplay is journey through a linear corridor fighting mobs of creatures to gain experience, then fight the mini-boss of that mob and move on to the next mob. Sprinkle on so many extra systems you legitimately won't be able to remember them all, and then add in every flashy effect you can find. Now fighting a mob means either click on it or don't click on it and just wait, and then your character will fight it automatically anyway. You do unlock skills, but you don't need to use them because they're used automatically, and if you die, you just grind the previous mob for hours or upgrade one of the hundreds of separate systems to increase your general battle ranking score shown here. Higher is always better. And within 20 seconds we're told, new feature, the Divine Path. Now this new feature pop-up will happen a lot over the next few hours because the actual core gameplay loop is clicking the new feature pop-up. The Divine Path is basically the story that you will always fall back to whenever you're unsure of what to do. It's not so much a story though as a linear selection of repeated corridors. Reach the first boss and you literally can't lose. There's no tactics, no defense, no offense, no choices. Everything boils down to your combat rating versus theirs. Watch and see who dies first. And within the first few seconds of any fight, you can always tell who's going to win by whose health is being reduced the slowest. Now maybe the game does get good 100 hours in, but if you play this game for 100 hours, they put you on a list and then send someone to check up on you. Remember that narratively we're in the demonic abyss, so either they're using the worst placeholder music they can find, or Satan is stuck on his Sunday morning snooze playlist. This music also loops every 30 seconds for the entire game. Next system, upgrade your angel, and despite being a scrolling list, the scroll wheel doesn't work. You have to click and drag, because despite being on Steam, this is actually 3 gacha games in a mobile phone trenchcoat. Upgrade your angel using angel currency, and then get some equipment, and upgrade that using equipment currency, and then equip it, but no visual change, because there's no room for different looking armor.
I guess there's still random encounters on damage stuff.
Visual effect dopamine bukkake of combat. We slaughter our way through the bowels of the abyss, and this red demon just humps the air asserting dominance, and while all this is going on, let's at least try to break down the UI, because it gets even more full later in the game. Within a few hours, this is what you'll see. Now pay attention, because there will be a quiz. These buttons are character portrait, click it for the barest of in-game menus, battle rating, overall combat power, diamonds first premium currency, which breaks down into the hot pack weekly and specialty pack, premium privilege, the fund battle pass, which has 5 smaller months within it, and the diamond cash shop. Coins, second premium currency, featuring the welfare hall, daily blessing, daily check-in reward, and code redemption, and the rank from 1 to 10, which gives permanent points. Your 3 active combat support angels, the Become Strong button, which is a list of suggestions for what you could do to get stronger. Your current AFK experience gained per hour, and a quick teleport to the pointless main city, which is a single screen, which we'll look at later. And then, the event hall, which is daily login rewards, lottery value cash shop packs, more cash shop packs, world boss rewards, and guild rewards. The today's daily gift button, which is different to the daily check-in or the daily login reward. The mythic quest, normal, elite, and legendary tasks to unlock an angel. The hot pack, which is another button to the shop. The specialty pack, which is another button to the same shop. The Demon Hunter contest, which is a reward track for the first players to kill enough demons, and then another more different shop. The 7-day goal button, featuring other even more differently daily login rewards, which aren't the same as the other 3 daily login rewards that I've already mentioned. The shop button, which you'd assume is one of the 3 other shops we've already seen, but no, it's actually a brand new different shop selling different things, but that itself is broken down into 4 specific shops: the Mystery, Honor, Diamonds, and Feature shop, and the Feature shop is further subdivided into the Relic shop, Guild shop, or Shop shop. I should mention these shops all use different currencies, and each currency upgrades different systems, and so far we have encountered Diamonds, Honor, Dragon Slaying Essence, Advanced Summon Orbs, Angel Crystals, Angel Essence, Combat Packs, Angel Coins and Star Stones, Common Class Scrolls, Formation Crystals, Legendary Shards, Ungodly Souls, Refining Stones, Merits, Enhance Stones, Refinement Stones, not to be confused with Refining Stones, because Refining and Refinement are different things, Relic Essence, Demon Hunter Star Stones, 7-day Medals, Summon Orbs, 9 different Relic Upgrade Materials, Guild Contribution, Treasure Points, and Socket Puncher Keys, all of which are collected in different ways and do different but also very similar things. And these are just the currencies that you'll experience through pop-ups in the first hour or 2 of gameplay. When I was getting these screenshots, I decided to be thorough and fully investigate the game and found 20 more currencies. Back to the buttons. The monthly card is another system. You see, the game is meant to be a card collector too. My main question is, why is the angel so high quality and the sword and shield pixelated and stretched? That's not your monitor, that's just how they look in game. The monthly card button has another tab opening yet another brand new shop.
What the hell's the encounter rate in this room?
The support button opens another even more different shop, which contains 3 different packs that you can't find anywhere else. A $200 one, another $200 one, and a $100 one. This means somewhere a high-ranking executive called up the UI designer and said, "What if we had a button that literally just opens a shop that sells packs more expensive than Baldur's Gate 3? And before the UI designer could argue and say why this was a terrible design choice, the executive had approved it, sniffed his own farts, and bought another yacht made of cocaine. The first recharge button is an advert for a free gift if you buy anything, and clicking through this opens the Fund shop, which costs $50 to unlock the Battle Pass, one of the game's many linear unlock systems. And the 70 free draws button advertises 70 free in-game gacha pulls, but it's not 70 free pulls, it's pay $10 and get 70 pulls. Not in one go. You get 10 now and then 10 every day for the next 6 days. The Divine Path we already know about, and thank God that opens the relevant screen because there are so many screens you will not remember how to get to them. But within the Divine Path itself, you've also got Mossing, the world map, Chronicle, which contains the game's lore, which I will critique later, and believe me, there are inconsistencies. Duels are player versus player, which is just biggest number wins. Trials are wave defense battles in either Daily Trial, Warrior Trial, or Angel Holy Land flavor. Worm races are just goddamn stupid, I'll get to that later. Big Boss button lets you go and fight big bosses, a game divided into World Boss or Dark Realm Boss, the Dark Realm Boss being a new, unique map with different mechanics to everything else. And the Daily button is daily rewards, but don't confuse this with the 5 other daily reward systems we've seen so far in other buttons and tabs, because this daily button features the Achievement tab, which is a list of rewards for various achievements, not to be confused with the 2 other lists of achievements, which we've already seen. At the bottom, you've got the Territory button, which has a linear path to follow through, and then a City Builder minigame where you can assign angels to do things like gather even more currency, and then the Treasure Hunter system for finding mythic armor, the Angel Summoning Gacha screen featuring both normal and advanced summoning, which itself has even more brand new, even different shops featuring brand spanking new currency again, or the More Features button, which, oh man, we'll get to this soon because this is a world of actual, genuine copyright infringement. Then you've got your own character screen complete with 4 systems: Divine Gear, Demon skins, and titles, themselves broken down into 2, 4, 3, and 3 sub-menus respectively. Infantry button breaks into 4 sub-menus: equipment, items, treasure, and synthesis mechanic. The skill menu goes into active and passive. The forge gives you forging, enhancing, refining, and gem imputing, which are also identical systems. And growth about getting new angels, combinations of heroes to help you, and also feature the relic system.
There's a random encounter in every step on the damage tile. What the fuck?
Upgrade systems and the pack system to upgrade 2 different other systems, Pact and Star Spirit, and then the Reborn system, which
don't touch the damage tiles ever.
The new angels, and that's not even all of the systems. As you level up, you'll find even more. And I hope you are paying attention, because here comes the quiz. It's only one question, and the question is why. Actually, the why is annoyingly pretty simple. League of Angels isn't designed to be a game you play, it's a system you sit through. It's a series of colourful explosions that you watch until they slow down, and then you follow the trail of exclamation marks to upgrade whatever system you currently have the currency for to make the explosions happen again. Repeat ad infinitum. It's the digital version of that child's play table that you see in dentists' or doctors' offices. Lots of bright, colourful things built quite close together. Back to the game. I unlock a basic skill. Now notice how you have 3 seconds to click the pop-up or it just goes back to the game. You can't stop this counter, you can't turn it off. I try to find a menu, I press escape, but escape does nothing because you cannot escape this. You will watch this game play by itself at this pace. You have no choice. I get told the latest server is server 118. Guess they've got my number. That's a joke for the millennial Brits in the audience. And then narrative advances. We're told we must stop the dark dragons to save your continent. You see, the angels need someone to save them. The angels may be immortal, omnipotent, godlike beings of light and divine energy imbued with the collected, concentrated, condensed magical power of aeons long gone, but what they don't have is the power to slap the shit out of someone with a sword, and that's where you come in. New feature, summon angels through the Gacha minigame. Apparently they've given the Emperor of Mankind a makeover, and he just looks fabulous now. So we spend some currency to upgrade our angels to level 20 and learn their ultimate ability, which just does a bit more damage. But here's a quick question. Where is my own health? I can see the green bar above my head in combat, and I can see the amount of HP each equipped item gives me on that item, but there is no health total anywhere. And I think that's quite telling about a game when it insists that you see your damage per second on the screen at all times, but has no interest in telling you your health. I earn a legendary sword and get told to defeat a boss to improve my efficiency. How? How can I get any more efficient? I've not even needed to play the game. What could you possibly do to make my experience more efficient? It's important to remember in League of Angels, you don't make any meaningful choices. Yes, I'm upgrading stuff by spending currency, but it's never at the expense of anything else. You can't build wrong or make a mistake, because to make a mistake, your choices need to matter, and they don't. New system, smelting. Smelting melts junk down into more currency. Auto smelter at VIP level 4. God, that would be efficient actually. And now the enhance system. Hold the enhance button to just spend all your currency faster. God damn, I can't get over all this new efficiency. And then the Dragonborn Treasure Daily Dungeon. And hey, do you want to unlock a temporary bonus for only $6 to $20? Think of all the efficiency you'd gain. Just take note, this side says one-time purchase, and the other side is permanent benefits, but I can't see what they are. I just see that you get more currency. New system, socketed gems. Not to be confused with gems, the currency. These are gems, the mechanical enhancement thing. New quest, use the gem shop. Not to be confused with the shop that sells gems, but the shop that takes gems as currency. The next quest is activate auto battle. Wait, hang on, activate auto battle. Am I not currently auto battling? Is this not what auto battle is? I'm not even playing. I've not clicked less since I went on a date with someone who tried to sell me NFTs. Turns out, no. While we have been automatically battling, we've actually been auto battling. You see, the way the game generally works is you have to kill mobs, normally 5, to light those flames to the bottom left, and when 5 flames are lit, you'll attempt the mini-boss. And with auto battle on, this process happens automatically. However, if you die at the mini-boss, auto battle turns itself off. What you do with auto battle off is you will endlessly automatically fight the mobs, but you will not attempt the mini-boss again, just farm items and experience. You need to click on the mini-boss manually if auto battle is off, which is the most interaction the game has. To make this system even better, unlocking auto battle isn't a one-time thing. You actually lose it every few levels and must re-earn it by beating another further along boss to turn it back on. So you can only auto battle your way for a bit. I unlocked the world map, and this won't matter because your location is irrelevant. There are no areas in the game that are connected in any meaningful way, and you can get anywhere via menus. Then we learn about the Kali Angel. We need to rescue her and go and get the Sword of Chris. The legendary Sword of Chris. So, cheers, Chris. New system, world bosses. You don't need to go and find them, they're not part of the world. You just access them through the list and click. Wait, one's called Kefir. Isn't that a type of yogurt? So I googled and yeah, here it is. The yogurt boss. World bosses are multiplayer social affairs, so you can admire the fun little emojis which sit above other players' heads. They don't really fit the art style though. And that made me question, what is the art style of this game? Because that will matter in a minute. Out of curiosity, I switch auto battle off and go back to full manual and try to click away from combat and try to explore the actual world, because honestly, the background graphics, the landscapes themselves are gorgeous. I really like this art style. Isometric top-down is great, but as I played I realised this drawing of a world isn't actually the level. It's just a flat image with an invisible path drawn over it. You notice this whenever objects that are supposed to be 3D or have depth, like pillars or lampposts or trees, enemies will just walk straight over them, like everything else. You never walk behind anything. The shadows of taller objects aren't being cast by a light source within the level, they're just drawn on. There's nothing to click on otherwise either. You can't go indoors or pick up objects or interact with the scene. It's just a pretty image to look at as your character moves along a predefined path. And then I realised that this mini-boss, Gaia, I killed before, about 10 minutes ago. And then I realised it was magical as well, and then I spotted.
I don't know what it is about this game, but
enemy models and the background maps
it turns me into an actual genuine mess of a person.
Was watching the journey through visuals, and now I can't unsee that it's just recycled. New Angel, the Fire Archon Mikola. New system, wake up the angels. Same as every other system, just follow the trail of exclamation marks, click on stuff, number go up. I'd love to show you an angel scroll system, but that opens up on day 6, and this server is only on day 3. That's right, I'm here early. Then a pop-up tells me 2 people just got married in the game. I can choose to send my blessing. Wait, no, got that wrong. My blessing sync. You can't make any meaningful choices in League of Angels. Send blessings is the only choice. There's no curse their firstborn, or show up drunk and tell my favourite joke about a funeral option. So, sure, I unleash this. Click absolutely everything to get rid of all the little exclamation marks, and new system, the Angel Holy Land, timed wave defense mission. So I grab my Crusader armor, equip a new Angel, and go and do something. New features, dailies. For real, they're so proud of having dailies it gets its own feature reveal. Just don't confuse this with the 5 other daily systems that you will unlock. The next quest is do 10 gacha pulls, which you're given for free. You can get weapons, armor, upgrade currency, or shards of angels, which combine to unlock one whole angel like a sexy jigsaw. The gacha opening animation isn't even that good. Come on, even Alchemia Story had a decent pack opening visual. And now another new feature, PvP. As I mentioned before, there's no way this is a real player in real time, because you see a list of players, you click one, and then you instantly fight. Plus, everyone on the list is a lower battle rating than me. How? This is the earliest you could possibly unlock PvP. There shouldn't be anyone weaker than me. PvP is literally highest number wins. The only skill here is knowing what numbers are and having the ability to click the lowest one. Another new feature, guilds. Either join one or make one. There aren't that many recruiting, and I've saved up enough resources to make one, so I try to make like and sub. Because I'm a YouTuber, and that's the cliche. It's not even an innuendo. It's just a totally nice, family-friendly name. Like and sub. But unfortunately, you can only have 7 letters in a guild name. Okay, let's just go with like, sub. Great. Now if people want to play with me, they can be a like, sub. Oh, okay, right. I see what I've done there. My bad. The next quest has us search for the angel Kali. I say search, there's no exploration. You just find where she is and go and fight things until she's yours. And this conversation tries to flesh out the characters, but Teresa? Who the hell is Teresa? Her name is Kali. It's right there above her text box. So this section begins, and unlike other levels where you can manually click away to disengage from combat or explore the background, it's entirely on rails, and clicking now does nothing, and when I fight the mini-boss, I actually lose. This is likely the first DPS check you were meant to fail. So there was no plan beyond big number better, and technically everything is a DPS check. So I level up everything I can, I refine everything, I try again, and lose again. This means it's time to grind. Boy, I sure am glad the game explained all its system to me in full depth and checked I was familiar with them before moving on. It would be awkward if I didn't actually know what to do right now, so I just travel around clicking everything and fighting whatever I can find. But hey look, each angel has a background story. Let's read one. Let's learn the League of Angels lore. Miquella, the Angel of Flame, is the younger sister of Glacia, the Angel of Frost. Their parents died in the Battle of Sanctuary. They grew up suffering from the war. Although Glacia was still young, she always protected Miquella. One day, the sisters encountered a demon army. Glacia hid Miquella and ran away to distract the demon army. As Miquella waited, she became more and more terrified, and rushed out of the bushes to look for her right after the army left. She cried and ran. She still could not find her. She felt abandoned. And we can see Miquella was born 1,200 years after the angel descending. Okay, what about Glacia's story? The Angel of Frost, Glacia, is the sister of the flame angel Miquella, whose parents died in the Grace Star War. But hang on, no, that's wrong. They're sisters. Did their parents die in the Battle of Sanctuary or the Grace Star War? You can't contradict your own lore. These are the first 2 angels you encounter. And we also know that Miquella was born 1,200 years after the angel descending. Whatever that was, probably an important event. We can shorten it to 1,200 AD. And Glacia was born 3,000 years after the angel descending, so 3,000 AD, making Miquella the elder of the 2 by 1,800 years. But Miquella's bio says she was the younger of the 2 sisters, which means that's either wrong or time works backwards. Miquella's story says she was adopted by humans, lost her memories after falling from a cliff, and became the leader of the anti-angel human revolutionary army, where she eventually met and fought against her sister Glacia in the Battle of the Angel Throne. But the conflict between the 2 siblings spawned the Dark Lord, so they put their differences aside and teamed up against him. Look, I realise that literally no one on Earth has ever or will ever care about the League of Angels character lore, but at least make it consistent. And while reading the lore, I realised on all the angels, they have a comment button. I discovered you can leave in-game comments on the angels you like the most, like an old-school forum post. And people have. There are entire conversations happening here. For anyone interested, Victoriana has the least comments, and Glacia has the most, although she's a starter angel, so that makes sense. But take the starter angels away, and the most popular is Aurora. It's nice to see she did well for herself after her Prince Charming arc. So now I've lost, I need to grind, but the game has thrown so many systems at me, I'm not sure which ones to grind or how, so I just click around a bit, kill some bosses, and after 20 minutes I try the Kali Angel quest again, and then I win. But I haven't leveled up, because, and it's very
it tells you if it's melee or range.
Angel's overall level
the spear is no longer a backline weapon.
Currency that you get from drops or through the cash shop in raising all of the individual systems. League of Angels is an app for people who demand bright colours, big numbers,
which I guess is why they can use guns now.
It's sexy angel-themed fireworks. It's TikTok brain weed bait, and I can say that because I am a weed. But no time for talking because we've got another new feature, worm racing. Select a worm, dragon by random chance, and then you join a race, which means you watch a 15-minute timer tick down while worms scroll across the screen. While racing, you can plunder and steal others' resources from their worms. This game has so many systems, and none of them are deep or engaging. It's like going to a world buffet, but everything is bland and covered in glitter. I teleport to the main city, which is just one flat big screen with NPCs standing around acting as teleports for buttons that you've already got on your UI. But then, listen, the music finally changes from chilled to actually quite epic. Surely the safe and calm music is meant to fit the city where you are safe and things are calm, and the epic battle music is for the outside epic battle where you're fighting stuff. It feels like they've switched the music. New feature, reach 150 devotion. You earn 10 devotion by completing a daily task, but I guess complete 15 daily tasks doesn't sound angelic enough. Remember when this game tried to have a narrative? Notice how this Mia map enemy model is blurry. Sometimes the bosses are just stretched and warped versions of other models of enemies or angels. New feature, the Angel Realm, a mobile-style city builder interface. Put your angels into buildings and make them do menial jobs for currency rewards. I mean, can we really spare an angel, what with the demonic invasion and all? I mean, the Dark Lord is here, the Abyss is rising, evil roams the land, we need the angelic army. Can we justify just plonking a celestial super soldier down in accounts payable and asking her to sort those TPS reports out? Finish chapter 2, off to chapter 3, the forest, which means a new series of repeating map backgrounds. I click around more, and why is the mail icon upside down? I'm sure I've seen that in a game before. Hit level 80 and another new system, the Ring of Aegis. It's just another upgradable thing. But hey, what about another new system, the Fund Reward track? From level 40 to 80, so every 10 levels, you get stuff, and then from 80 onwards you get new ranks. But you can always buy the Battle Pass and unlock the better track. It's only $50. But look, notice how it uses the word invest. This isn't an investment, it's a game. Stop trying to commodify everything. It's okay to sell a game for the fun of the game. It's okay to ask a player to pay for fun, not tell them they're making an investment in the future. You're not making your money back on this. It won't have long-term value. It's down there with Beanie Babies and JPEGs of monkeys. I just click everything shiny and then this pops up. Daily trial, Blitz, but I need to buy an item to unlock it, and my options are buy now or confirm. So my options to do I want to buy this thing are yes or yes. Thankfully, you can still just click back. Oh, you might have also noticed the experience bar at the bottom of the screen looks like it's been cut off, like I've badly edited the video, but no, that's just how the game looks. New feature, class ranking, and I have to be fair, I actually really like what they were going for here. I know, I wasn't expecting to find anything I like in this game either, but if you sift through enough dirt, you will eventually find a cool-looking rock. The general way it works is your overall level is not tied to your class level, and the higher your class level, the better your abilities are. Now, there are two ways to raise your class level, either using class scrolls that you can buy in the cash shop, or you can sacrifice your overall levels to gain class experience. Now, it's not at a 1-to-1 ratio. It normally takes 10 or so overall levels to gain one class level. Even though the bonus is quite small, it is permanent and stacking. I like this because it's a systemic way to deal with potential power leveling or level creep. You are using your own gained levels as currency. It's similar to prestige systems in other games, and there's actually quite a lot you can do with this. I then discovered you can't auto-battle unless you have at least 20 free inventory slots, and because you automatically pick up anything that the mobs drop, your inventory slots fill up really quickly. I assume this is to sell you more inventory space, but then you can just recycle all your junk items, and oh my god, do you pick up a lot. If only there were a way to automate this. Oh, there is, just be VIP rank 4. This warrior trial button has been cut off at the start and at the end, so instead of warrior trial it says narrier trial. There's no sense of space or world cohesion here. I don't know where anything is in relation to anything else because it doesn't matter. You've got pages of world building written into your game but not bothered to actually build a world. New system, Synthesize, which combines things to make other things. What things? Doesn't matter. Just do it when you can. Like every other system, there's never a wrong choice. If you can do it, it is the right choice. If you can do something, you should. Another new system, Dark Realm Bosses, a grid of fights that you just progress through. And you have the illusion of choice as the bosses are stood around for each other, but you have to kill them in the correct order, so there is actually still no choice. Take on the first dark boss, meet the demon lord Purd. Now, combat works slightly differently in Dark Realm bosses. If you die, which you will because you gain
How
access
are
to the
you
system
more
while actually
defensive
underleveled for it, you can just pay 50 diamonds to get back up and try
than
again.
most of my
Now, this might
frontliners,
be
I believe?
compared to all of the other fights, but actually it's basically the same. But in this fight, you're putting the money or the diamonds in mid-fight, whereas for all the other bosses, you put them in before the fight starts. There's no punishment for failing a fight, so you just keep throwing diamonds, money, system, currency, whatever at your character until you win. Guess what happens if you die? You don't pay the 50 diamonds to get it right now, and you let that counter just run out. That's right. You just get back up and carry on anyway. So you're not actually paying for the privilege of continuing the fight from where you were. You're paying to skip the countdown to continue the fight from where you were. New system, Demon Hunting Divine Gear, separate to regular gear, leveled up differently, different currency, all ultimately just adds to your battle rating. And then another new system, the Arena, or PvP, but this time it's called Arena instead of Duel. But this does highlight an issue with terminology in game design. The phrase Arena has already been used as a mechanical term in relation to the area you're currently in, and now it's also a specific PvP minigame. Kind of like how they've used gems to mean both the gem currency and the gem upgrade item. When you're designing any type of game, the words you use or your terminology has to be really specific, because players need to be able to explain what they want to do with that system in very specific ways. If a player were to say, take the gems to the arena, that could mean 4 different things in this game.
How?
Use the same word for multiple systems. So you know what, while I'm just grinding away, let's have a read of some reviews. This game is for whales only. I play it but can't exactly recommend it. Within your first 5 minutes of playing, you've been asked to buy packs of various assortments, and your entire UI screen is just going to be filled with such pop-ups. The packs are also predatory in nature, as they are constructed in such a way that you need to buy more than what you need, since they fall just shy of reward tins. In summary, it's your typical pay-to-win gacha. The average pack consists of a few items with a price tag ranging from $50 to $200 per pack. On top of that, there's about 7 or so other milestone packs running $50 a piece. The size of your inventory, 200 slots, is directly linked to your VIP level. For the curious, you'd be looking at spending thousands of dollars for only 170 more inventory slots. The amount of high-price monetization is absolutely nuts. For League of Angels fans, it is actually quite nice. One of the worst games I've played, labelled as an AFK autoplayer, yet requires something like 8 hours a day of regular attention in order to remain competitive. There's mandatory PvP, and so this game is inherently competitive and not relaxing. Many activities in this game encourage cutthroat behaviour, even toward one's supposed guild. So it seems that even within the League of Angels franchise, Pact is especially bad. Plunder some worms, win some PvP, and now another new system. Defining is the same as enhancing, but this time the currency is green. Then I spot this More Features button. I wonder what they've still got to add, so I cycle through, and they sound generic as always. The Eternal Battlefield, another Dark Realm PvP boss, the Endless Maze, the Tarot Cosmos, explore the Root Tower, sea battles, cross-server PvP, and a new boss. But this is where I had to do some actual journalism. Something about this promotional artwork caught my eye because I recognise this picture. Because I play Magic the Gathering, I am sure that is an Eldrazi Hedron. So I checked my own Magic collection and then did a reverse image search, and yes, it is. Specifically, it's the Magic the Gathering artwork for the Zendikar Expedition version of the card Eye of Ugin, which is owned by Wizards of the Coast, who themselves are owned by Hasbro. Now, I don't know what went on behind the scenes. Maybe Game Hollywood, the people who make League of Angels Pact, did officially license this artwork from Hasbro to be used to advertise an upcoming feature in their game. Maybe that happened. It seems unlikely, but maybe it did. Spotting one
here it
bit
is.
of artwork that I already recognise.
Play
I'm
possum.
curious. So I reverse image searched everything. Most of these images promoting upcoming features are actually composites of 2 other images layered on top of each other.
I
with
can
varying levels of
technically use this
transparency.
to make sure
One
everyone
image
targets
towards the top of the
Mara, or
screen,
at least
one image toward the bottom. Combining 2
draw
images like this makes
fire
for a
away
search
from
on the bottom half,
from
and the text throws it
people
off
I
entirely.
really don't
By
want to get
picking
hit.
smaller parts of only the above image, I have managed to find a few. The promotion for Eternal Battlefield, that image is actually called Dungeon of and it is Uncharted The Lost Legacy fan art made by 3D artist Jinju Lee back in 2019. That image of the Rune Tower
It
has
doesn't seem like
artwork
they have any
from Arkham
requirements
Horror collectible card game, specifically
for
the card
weapons,
Steps of Yakra,
apart from
published by Fantasy
maybe...
Flight Games. The cross-server sea battle is Ride the Wind and Waves by Xiao Peng, and the cross-server
This?
arena monument is Area Plan by Yao Lin. However, the League of Angels version of this
But
has this
it
vertical beam
also
light
doesn't
added
say-
toward the top center. The cross-server battle I couldn't find, so I took to Twitter, and all of you
It's
were
just
the
a melee
absolutely
cut, it
legends
doesn't
of college
require a
obsessed you
scythe.
are, and you
Although you
found
try
it's a
best
fantasy
wield a
to
scythe with it,
concept
you
by
can't
artist
technically
Nick
use a
Cage.
spear or even a gun.
Version has these transparent swords added to
Melee
it.
cut with a gun?
These have been officially licensed, and there's nothing wrong with this, but the most interesting one is this one. Image used for Fantasy Maze, because this image is art for League of Legends, owned by Riot Games. Specifically, it's the Frostguard Citadel art in the Visions of the Freljord section of the art gallery on the League of Legends Universe site. Now, I don't know if they have permission to use this. Maybe they do. But using Uncharted fan art, Arkham Asylum card art, Magic the Gathering card art, and League of Legends art, all to advertise features which are not even in your game yet, seems quite suspect. Honestly, letting the game just play through in the background while I was playing Amateur Detective and found those images with your help was the most fun the game has been so far. So currently I'm on 19,073 experience of my current level. I can't kill the mini-boss in front of me, so I'm just auto-grinding mobs. I just sit and let the game play, and after 30 minutes I'm up to just over 48,000 experience, but no stronger, no levels. This is why grinding alone isn't worth it. The power you gain from increasing one of the game's many systems is always more useful than just grinding, and interacting with all systems takes so much time and eventually so much money if you want to progress at a
It's single
reasonable
target.
pace. You're not playing the game so much as babysitting numbers, following an endless train of exclamation marks to whatever system you happen to have the currency for, making number go big, then watching the
I mean, getting
victory
one
pop
level
up
and it
happen again,
shouldn't
that
be that
tiny
bad.
spike of dopamine. It's a flashy, hollow shell, hoping you'll fill it with money just so it jingles a bit when you shake it. The game even tells you your current rate of experience gained per hour, so you can do some basic maths and work out, yeah, you're about 4 hours
The skill
away
is
from
kinda
leveling up,
useless,
unless
it's
you
just there
make
so I can
number
unlock the
go up.
other skills
Another 30
associated
minutes,
for
the
it.
boss blocking my path still DPS checks me, and I still die. I leave the game running for 2 hours in the background while I go and do something better, like just staring into space for a bit, and then when I come back, I try the boss again, I fail.
This one
so I spent
is
5 minutes
worthless to
spending all of
increase.
the currency I got, leveling every system I can, and then I try again, and I still lose, but I got a little bit closer. There is no skill to League of Angels, just upgrade system, repeat. When run out of resources, grind for 2 hours a game, and then repeat again. Or if you don't want to spend 2 hours grinding, spend money and get those resources now. I hit level 87 and there are 15 exclamation marks on the screen right now. 15 different upgrade systems all need my attention, and I won't have to make a single choice on any of them. If there was a big button that said upgrade everything, I would click it because I'd be making the same amount of meaningful choices. But instead, I follow all the exclamation marks. I click over 100 collect now or claim or reward buttons and watch a river of currency flood into my already quite full inventory, which I can then spend on more upgrade systems, which will let me kill more mobs for more buttons to click to get more currency, and the whole shallow, sparkly process repeats like the mobs and maps, and no one ever makes a choice.
Oh, yeah.
With you, if holding down the upgrade
This one's
button,
really
watching
good.
endless explosions of sparkles happen as everything upgrades without you making any actual meaningful choices, that's fine. If that's what you want, this game is going to absolutely be fantastic for you, but to me, it seems like the ultimate case of style over substance. So, I end this video as the 70th highest ranked League of Angels Pact player on this server, and that is an accolade I will deny for the rest of my life. League of Angels Pact is the 5th League of Angels game, and that sentence is damning enough. I reviewed 3 and 4 around 4 years ago, and in that 4 years, the biggest design leap they've made is choosing to use Arkham Horror, Magic the Gathering, and League of Legends artwork to advertise features they don't even have yet. Pact is an experiment in feature creep which shows no sign of stopping. It is the worst League of Angels game, and that bar is so low it burrowed through the planet and flew into space. Download this game if you demand colourful explosions and confusing systems, or just roll around in a pile of glitter while trying to do your taxes, stopping every 5 minutes to set some money on fire. It's the same overall vibe. Cheers for watching. Another massive thank you to H Bomber Guy for the cameo and the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, and our Discord. And as always, have a great day.
何にするのじゃ？何にするのじゃ？
Going fast might be needed.
装備を変えるのかや？さてさて、装備を変えるのかや？なんじゃ？取引成立じゃ。なんじゃ？毎度あり。
よく来たな。どうするのだ？どうするのだ？
Holy shit. Abily has the most HP. In the party, how do you even do that?
どうするのだ？登録だな。
Honestly, I like this being my main team. I'll put it here.
どうするのだ。どうするのだ。他には。
Honestly, I don't think Earth's bounty is worth investing into. For Ebony, if I'm making her a combat
別のどうするのだ。休養だな。他に何か。
We want her to act first so she can get the draw rate activated as quickly as possible. Which case I might want to get rid of the hairpin. She already has enough luck. Seriously.
気をつけるように。
じっくり見て何にするのじゃ。
Okay, we squeeze more speed out of her while still giving her defense. Yes, I like this.
どうするのじゃ。家事をするんじゃな。さてさて、何のご用かの。どうするのじゃ。毎度あり。はあ、なんだっけ。 なんだっけ。覚えましたわ。覚えましたわ。覚えましたわ。覚えましたわ。
Seeing something you loved as a child change is never fun. Like going to the shops and seeing chocolate bars getting smaller, or returning to your childhood bedroom and noticing your parents have installed a heavy-duty hook in the ceiling and a selection of riding crops hang on the wall, despite the fact they don't own a horse. Sometimes those memories should just stay memories, lest you be scarred by what they have now become. Like how hundreds of you have asked me to play Sherwood Dungeon without realizing it's now an auto-battler mobile game. Thankfully, I never played this game as a kid, so I'm not ruining any of my old memories, I'm just making terrible new ones. Sherwood Dungeon is a free browser MMORPG originally made in Shockwave, which means in the gaming world it now qualifies for an OAP discount. It was then moved to Flash and hosted entirely online. But when Flash shut down, Sherwood Dungeon went on to become download only, and this brought a host of incredible new features, including damage numbers and a mini-map. And after 2 solid days of playing, and I would say completing Sherwood Dungeon, I can indeed confirm it does have damage numbers and a mini-map. So join me as we dive into the endless dungeon, cheese the final boss, and then glitch out the UI so badly we have to restart the game several times. Welcome, I'm Josh Drive Hayes, and this is Worst MMO Ever, a show where I play every MMO I can find in a journey to find the worst. Drop a like on the video or sub to the channel for more MMO stuff, ring the bell for all the future notifications, and as usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. More information on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. Quick warning, this video contains a lot of spiders because the game has about 10 models and 3 of them are spiders. Sherwood Dungeon, an MMO a lot of people played back in the day because it was held online and didn't need a download, so you could play it in schools or public computers. Releasing in 2002, it was competing with RuneScape, but Sherwood Dungeon has action combat. Well, it kind of has action combat, we'll see the combat later. Now, Sherwood is an actual place. It's a forest in Nottingham in England, home to the legend of Robin Hood. You probably know Robin Hood from one of 3 films, the one with Alan Rickman, the funny one with the dancing, or the one responsible for all the furries. Robin Hood is also public domain, so anyone can just make a film about him. Seriously, give it a go. Russell Crowe did, Taron Egerton did, and you may as well try, you can't do worse than theirs. The Robin Hood theme continues as the game was created by Maid Marian Entertainment, who is a character in the story. This company also made Club Marian, which is an online hangout game which looks like this. Please don't make me play this. So we download the game, launch it, and log in. Or we don't log in. You see, you don't need an account to play Sherwood Dungeon. You can play as a guest. While playing as a guest, progress is saved to the local machine, not to your account, which means if you're using your own home computer, this works fine. But if you're playing on a public computer, anyone else who uses that computer will also be able to log into effectively your guest account. Game client itself also doesn't remember much between play sessions like resizing, and there is only one resolution, so if you have a higher res monitor, you'll just need to click and drag the window every time you play. You also cannot remap any of the keys or zoom the camera.
I really can't decide where to spend this last skill point.
And several of the option checkboxes have awful click boundaries. This is what you're working with. Get used to it. If you log in as a guest, you'll get a tips
Fuck it, play possum.
The controls. It's tank movement, by the way. Turn left and right, no strafing. Spacebar jumps, number 1 attacks, 2 blocks, 3 is your special power.
Yeah, I'm not
and
clicking
4
anything.
Various special moves. Now, that's the classic unit. You can't still access that. It's a bit of juice to get to. Let's see what's that. Not into the game, it's no tutorial. Just a fantasy world and direct to view some spiders. So let's go first one. The whole. Combat is all this game. This is so like 1 or 2 eggs. This to work. So let's just break it down. Combat in Sherwood Dungeon is on some level.
朝までお休みだね。
You click on an enemy, walk up to them, then hold 1 to keep constantly attacking. Each basic attack animation has a wind up, an impact, and then a cooldown. Provided the enemy is blocking at the exact moment of the impact, you will hit them. There's no rolling, dodging, but everyone has the same range and roughly the same speed. Let's call the whole animation of prep, impact, and recovery a cycle. A basic attack cycle and the block cycle are roughly the same length. When you block, you've got the wind-up of raising your arm or your offhand from the active block frames, being covered, and then the recovery. If the enemy impact happens at the time of the active block frames, 2 things will happen. First, you'll avoid all the damage of the attack, and second, you'll get this little block icon appear above your head. This means your next attack will do double damage. So it's like a really slow parry and riposte system. Just bear in mind that certain enemies can also block and then do double damage back. The issue you'll face is because the attack cycle and the block cycle are roughly the same length, you actually need to begin your block before the enemy starts an attack animation. So it's not really a case of watch the enemy and respond, and you'll be able to block every attack. You simply can't. It's more a case of predict what they're about to do. This means you either
I have an infinite usage of the item thing now that does the exact same thing.
until a random block is successful, and then following that up with a double damage attack. They're the only real viable tactics. But hey, special attacks. You can equip amulets, which are bound to key use. An amulet uses mana and sends out elemental AoE burst, fire, ice, darkness, poison. Oh yeah, the game has different elemental damages on weapons, which we'll see later, but nowhere ever did it matter, because it didn't find anything with an elemental weakness or an elemental resistance, so it did no point there either. So basic attack, basic block, amulet, AoE. You then got the power moves, which unlock as you level up, like kicks, quick hits, or a whirlwind spin. Now, important note, using a power move will animation cancel and interrupt both your regular attack or regular block, but all power moves do the same damage. They roll a random damage number between 150% and 200% of your standard attack damage. The only difference is slightly different speeds. This isn't really enough to matter in standard PvE. In PvP, the idea is outplay your opponent with power moves, then make them into a block, and then switch up timings so they don't block. But the reality of PvP is higher number wins, gank your opponent while they're fighting something else. This list of buttons also has a slot for health potions, but you won't need them, because if you need to use one, you're already losing too much to bother staying in the fight. This means all PvE combat is essentially stand there and do basic attacks until you feel like blocking or use a power move, but really the most effective thing is just get better gear. On the character screen, which is accessed by clicking on portrait, you can change your team, which cycles through colours on your tab bar. This is the PvP. Anyone not on your team can attack you anywhere in the world, but change your team at any time. You can also change your armor color, which is purely just visual, and then your helmet or headgear color. You've also got 6 overall styles of avatar to pick from man in armor to skeleton. And the skeleton's armor change is just the same color palette, but switched into the negative. You've also got a power rating, which counts your character, the most powerful hero or beast you own, and then all of the other heroes and beasts you own. Get these from the cash shop, so yes, you can just buy power, but as we'll see later, there is absolutely no point in doing this at all. It's meant to affect quick teleports, but as we'll see later, on your inventory screen, you've got your equipped items. However, to see the total value of these equipped items, you'll need to go back.
That's a lot of TP restored, I believe.
Switching
what the heck?
Stuff gives you the stats, but there's no way to compare anything to what you're currently wearing now or see changes if you were to equip something. And if you click and hold on your spinning avatar, you can rotate them, but if while still holding the mouse and spinning, the cursor passes over an equipped item slot, stops spinning the avatar and instead auto-grab onto the equipped item. So there's lots of little bugs and glitches they just haven't seen. Like this one.
Why did I use fire? I meant to use...
Hold an item icon, drag it to the top right close window X, and then quickly click on it while still dragging the item. When you reopen the window, moving your cursor over any empty inventory slot, or an inventory item of the same type of that previous item, change the icon to whatever the item was that you dragged. This doesn't duplicate the item, it just makes it look like it does. It also prevents you from picking up or moving anything else and persists until you force close the entire game and start again. Now, the game looks pretty mobile, because it is, but you can still access the classic layout as a registered account. All you need to do is open the launcher, then click Account Options, then choose Play as Guest.
Yeah, the damage tiles have so much...
Wait a moment, because this usually crashes, so try it a few times. Then click Members Log.
I immediately knew...
The classic version, despite
I went the right way, so that's why I...
everything just
and I figured I may as well change the party.
Toggle switch in the game.
Yeah, I discovered a mining zone, which is great.
Anyway, starting in Classic does offer a tutorial, which also glitches because I'm playing with the inventory when an automated section
what the hell?
Stuck a shield icon permanently to my cursor. For most of this video, I'll use the mobile interface because the Classic one seems to crash a lot more, and mobile is what they want the game to actually look like. This is where they think the future of the game is. Have a chat to Morgan and get a quest. Kill 4 Venom Crawlers. Now, when an enemy dies, it'll drop a chest. Stand by it to see the loot, which completely replaces your minimap to the top right. You click the items you want, and then the loot box goes away. Game, you were so proud of your new minimap, you actually included it in the updated notes. You don't need to remove the minimap when the loot box pops up. Not an unused screen space. Use that instead. Now, enemies in the overworld will drop items, gold, or diamonds, which are both normal currencies used in shops. Also, runes and scrolls, which we'll see later. With 4 killed, we're sent to the windmill to talk to a wise woman. area map has icons, but no cursor over tooltips or info, so it's like you started designing a functional map, then kinda gave up. When you level up, you also get this cool spin animation. Interestingly, while this level up window is open on the screen, enemies will stop attacking you. That doesn't happen for any other window. Enemies also have various pursuit ranges from "you have stepped backwards, therefore I will give up" to "I will chase you across the entire map. Maps themselves, though, are very small. Sherwood Dungeon is essentially 14 small locations joined together via teleportation portals, each location being a big square, and essentially a reskin of previous locations. The enemies act the same, quests are all kill X quests, all shopkeepers have an inventory based on you, based on the map they're on. Also notice while looking at screenshots of Club Marion that they use exactly the same locations and maps as Sherwood Dungeon. This company made several maps and then reskinned them into various games. That's one step beyond palette swapping, that's just game swapping. Wise Woman tells us to collect 8 rubies from these scrappers, small human enemies. Then we learn that it may be our destiny to seek the legendary Dragon Claw Scepter and defeat the tyrannical dragon Bane. Known for being called Sherwood Dungeon, there are surprisingly few references to Robin Hood or Sherwood Forest. Maybe I've just forgotten the bit where Robin of Locksley and Friar Tuck teamed up to hunt down the magical scepter, then go body a dragon. But you know what? That's actually a really good idea, and we already know Robin Hood is public domain. Somebody do it. Make a movie where Robin Hood fights a dragon. Hey, look, there's water! Let's see where Sherwood Dungeon sits on the MMO water gameplay scale, which ranges from Guild Wars 2 to New World. Ah, right, no physics or animations. This is all in the New World.
That's best used when you have 2 people on the line,
one active quest at a time. And while there are
unless it reduces the amount of TP you get. It's worth checking out.
7 quests, which you could do in about 3 hours. The map also doesn't highlight quest givers or receivers, and your journal doesn't record anything because you don't have a journal. Also, if you log out while you're on a quest, it gets forgotten and you need to start again. Hand the quest in and get told my next task is at Haunted Palms, so I get instantly teleported there. You actually have a teleport menu listing all the areas, castle, beach, swamp, even a giant chessboard, all the standard fantasy locales. But you'll see some of these are greyed out. You can't quick tally to higher areas until you are a higher level or have a higher power rating. But as we'll see later, it still can. I go and explore and I realise something. Despite having a jump, the game never uses it for anything. Everything vertical from steps to small walls has an invisible wall around it, and above it there are no dangerous floors or hazards, no scenery, there are no jumping puzzles, no reason to jump in combat. So I do some more diving and I realise the game has no vertical mechanics at all. The few times I do find an edge or a ledge, you can't fall off. You don't fall, you just instantly appear on the floor. And if there's an enemy directly below you, you will lock on and start attacking them while stood above, but you won't hit them. So the game does measure vertical distance, it just has no in-air animation. You are constantly, always on the floor. And that's when I realised that the jump in this game isn't a jump. Look at this, jumping while moving up or down stairs or ramps. You will remain a locked distance from the floor for the entire duration of the jump, irrelevant of going up or down. It shouldn't happen. If you jump while going down a ramp or down some steps, you should remain in the air longer. If you jump while going up, you should reach the ground quicker. And then I realised the jump is just a visual animation. Your character model isn't actually leaving the floor at all. If they were, the motion in the air would be smooth, not pulled down in relation to the floor, like jumping off this step instantly jerking you to the floor. This means when you press spacebar, all you're doing is playing an animation of what a jump should look like. Your character is remaining technically on the floor. Shop NPCs are another bundle of joy, and by now there are so many small bugs I'm wondering if Bethesda made this. While on a shop screen, you cannot see what you are currently wearing, so you cannot directly compare new items to equipped items without constantly switching between equipped and shop. Well, the worst bug is this. Open the shop. Then click sell your stuff. Simple so far. See your own inventory. Click for an item, then click sell. And now you're given a confirmation screen.
Yeah.
Choose yes, no, or no. Clicking yes just finishes the sale, as you'd expect. I thought it was a bit silly that you got both no and close window. I'd assume these both do the same thing. It seems redundant to have both. But I'm both right and wrong. Clicking no and clicking close window both do the same thing, but that thing is nothing. Clicking no to a sale and clicking yes don't close the window. Once you've opened
Maybe you
this
should
window,
try Routsa
you
instead.
can't close it.
Although Routsa doesn't exactly use a lot of...
Is clicking yes.
Or
So if
rather,
you
I could
accidentally This
try
script to
putting
sell an item.
Eboli.
When you're given
I should try
confirmation
making Eboli a frontliner.
click no, you have to close the entire game. But it gets stranger. If you click and hold the no button, then move your cursor over the yes while still holding it, then release, it will count as a yes. Because the game seems to care where your cursor is when the click is released, not where it was when it was clicked. Now some shops sell scrolls. These are powerful items which must be summoned. Scrolls have slots for runes, and other shops sell runes. Collect the runes you need, open the scroll, add the relevant runes, and you can then summon the item permanently to your inventory. Scrolls can be found in shops, on enemies, or when you reach level 100 at the Elite Scroll Seller, which, let's be real, you're not going to do. Now if you die in the overworld, and you will, you'll respawn in a resurrection circle, this ring of stones. Every map has one of these, it's where you appear when you teleport to the map. Death doesn't damage anything, so feel free to die as often as you want. If an enemy is pursuing you, run into the stone circle and they will stop. You are safe here. Well, kind of. There's a bug we'll abuse later. Now, whenever you log in, you'll be asked if you want to buy a mount, or a beast pet, or a hero. Mounts are rideable. Beast pets and heroes, I think you just kind of have. Sometimes they fight along with you, but I never saw anyone else with them. Oh, did I say buy? I meant rent. You can rent a mount or a pet for several months, and then you lose them, because Robin Hood loved nothing more than taking from the rich, giving to the poor at time-limited gash. If an NPC has a quest, it will always be Kill X. They'll show you the item reward you will get for doing the quest, but the item icon will not have a tooltip, so you will not know its stats until after you've done the quest. Well, the modern UI is like that. The classic UI actually tells you everything fine, because the classic UI was made for PCs, not mobiles, and is a far better RPG UI overall. But the modern look is what they want now. We're told to speak to Lady Marion to enter the dungeon, and this is supposedly the real core of the game, the actual Sherwood dungeon itself. Lady Marion tells you go and kill X enemies, you accept, and then you get teleported to the dungeon. The dungeon, in theory, has endless floors, so imagine Diablo but bad, which shouldn't be hard. It's a randomly generated maze filled with treasure and slowly spawning enemies. The dungeon floor you're sent to will match your level. The deeper down you go, the aesthetic will change from castle to cave, but mechanically everything is the same, because there are no mechanics, no switches, doors or puzzles. It's basically the Windows Maze screensaver with a scuffed Dark Souls combat system. Enemies in the dungeon are also very polite and will wait in turn to attack you one at a time, and when you are done, don't bother climbing the stairs to leave, because you'll have to climb back every single floor. Just use the teleport menu to return to the overland and run back to the castle for your reward. You get experience for handing in quests, but it never mentions how much. You can also dual-wield weapons, but you need to manually click and drag a weapon to your shield slot. You can still block as if you had a shield, and dual-wielding adds the weapons together to increase both your minimum and maximum hits, so there's no reason to not do this. Along with teleporting from the menu, you've also got some swirly gates, which connect all the maps together. Now, the home map has a portal to every other map. The only issue is, they have no labels. There's no way to know where they go. You just have to try them all, and then remember. Once you're actually on any other map, there's only
that hurts my
one
OCD.
portal you can find, and that will always take you to the next, harder map. The landscapes themselves range from generic to slightly surreal, grounded in fantasy tropes still, but arranged haphazardly like Easter Island heads along a beach. And running through all the maps is a very short journey. They're all square, and all surrounded by water. No map has anything specific apart from the Maidenwood Castle map, which has a blacksmith. This dude will upgrade your equipment to your current level, because whenever you get an item, it is for whatever level you currently are. Upgrading your item costs diamonds, which is a currency that enemies drop. And then running around some more, and hey, a cool ship, which isn't even on the map. We're just way off the edge of the world here. This doesn't even exist. I wonder if the ship goes anywhere. Apparently not, but you can run along the edge and... Oh look, if you fall off the ship, which you will, or if you run too far into any of the oceans on any of the maps, you'll just be instantly teleported back to that map's spawn point. Now the main issue about getting to this blacksmith is you can only quick teleport to these higher maps when you are a higher level, or have a higher power rating, which is encouraging you to buy things from the shop. But there is a trick. You can just type /teleport and then a number from 0 to 14 to instantly be sent to that map. No level or power requirements needed. 0 is the dungeon. You can also use /level and then a number to go to that dungeon floor immediately. So this quick teleport list, the restrictions are meaningless. They don't stop you doing anything. You can teleport around freely from the get-go. Now, when I say the dungeon is essentially endless because player levels are endless, the amount of experience needed for the next level grows exponentially. So while you can reach level 2997, for the love of God, don't. So what do we actually do in Sherwood Dungeon? What's the story? Well, the main questline is the Prophecy of Bane the Evil Dragon. That begins at the Wise Woman, so we're already on it. Let's just carry on. Remember how you use runes to fill in scrolls to get weapons? Well, the point of this questline is to collect 6 unique runes from quests to fill in the Dragon Claw Scepter scroll to summon the scepter, then use the scepter to kill Bane. Like this quest, Mayor Bones needs us to kill 10 Shadow Warriors. This can be challenging because PvP outside of the starting map is always on, and I struggle to kill one of these things, so I guess I need to grind for some levels first. Oh, another issue. The game has multiple layers of click-through. For example, when you have a window on the screen, that window and everything beyond it is still active. For example, if you're in the dungeon, you can click on the stairs and it will ask you if you'd like to travel up a lane. But then you can also open the teleportation menu and it will ask you if you want to teleport. But if you click where the stairs are, even while the teleportation menu is open, it will ask you if you want to take the stairs instead. It still registers clicks on everything on the screen. No window has priority. But by now, I have found a leveling tactic. Spiders cannot block. They only ever attack every single time at a predictable rate, which means it's easy to predict their attacks, block, and get double damage on the next one. So I keep talking to Marion and cancelling her chat until she gives me a spider dungeon task and then just go and do that. I also find all the runes I need to get a Chaos Forged longsword from completing a scroll, so I grab that, and it turns out the wolves can't block either, so same tactic. And after doing this for about an hour, I need a leveling guide, because this is slow, and amazingly, there are just no guides online for this. People seem to have given up creating content. I do, however, find a leveling video from July 2012 called Best Way to Level Up in Sherwood Dungeon, and my god, this video delivered. Look at this. They filmed the desktop, and oh god, even that start menu is a blast from the past. TeamSpeak, Yahoo, IMVU, log me in Hamachi, and they even start the video in the traditional time-honoured way by opening Notepad and typing out what we're going to be doing. You know we're about to get serious. The method I'm given is go to Lost Lagoon, talk to Lady Morgan until you get a Sea Dragon quest, because Sea Dragons give massive amounts of experience. That's it. That's the entire guide. And the insane thing is, this method legitimately still works. The map, the NPC, enemy placement, all the same. I put guides out and they're outdated in 6 months. This is 11 years old, still works. Only issue is sea dragons are pretty tough to kill and I die a lot. Thankfully, the enemy health does not refill between fights, so you can just throw yourself at the same enemy again and again until you win, which is the Robin Hood way. But now another annoying design choice. Experience does not carry through to the next level, so let's say you're 20 experience away from a level and you get 2,000 experience for killing an enemy. You'll hit the level, but then the excess 1,980 experience, that's just lost. Okay, these sea dragons are fine, but they're intense. I need a lazy approach, an AFK approach. Well, thankfully this is a mobile game now, so we can do that. Just open the menu up and choose Auto Defend. This means whenever you're in combat, your character will just randomly use abilities from there. Then, go and stand in a dungeon, and you will always be auto-attacked, so now you can just wait. You can actually AFK like this for as long as you want. The only issue is, sometimes the enemies will spawn behind walls or behind each other, and apparently they are blind, because they'll just stop attacking you. And the pathfinding, even if they could get to you, is so dire, they won't. And a limited amount of enemies can be spawned, so if everything gets gridlocked, you have to move. But don't worry, there's even more exploits. There's more exploits than Prince John found on Nottingham taxes. That was a very specific Robin Hood joke. Anyway, grab yourself a bow. There's only one bow in the game, so enjoy it. Then buy some arrows, and now go and stand in the central circle of any map. Remember that enemies will not follow you into this respawn circle. Even if you attack them and then run into the circle, they'll just stop. Well, if you equip a bow and shoot an enemy while you're already in the circle, then the enemy will run in and attack you. And if you have auto-retaliate on, you'll fight back. Then you'll die and respawn in the circle, and the enemy will auto-attack you again, and you'll do a little bit of damage every life, and you'll just carry on fighting. So you can just shoot a high-level enemy and then wait until it's dead. Lots of experience, very little work. Some enemies are immune to damage from almost every weapon, but nothing is immune to the AoE effect of your amulet. And dying resets the cooldown on the amulet ability, so just keep doing that. Just be careful with the arrows because there are a couple of issues. Arrows are always sold in stacks of 20. You cannot break a stack down or combine smaller stacks together to create a bigger stack. And arrows are the one item that cannot be sold back to a shop at all. So after a combination of bow loring and AFK dungeon grinding, I get back to the main quest. Interestingly, if you talk to an NPC further along in this quest, you can just choose Force to make them give you their part of the quest, even if you're not at it yet. But I'm going to be honourable and thorough and do the whole thing. Kill a load of basilisks for the Moonstone, and I should probably talk about the music.
皆さんなら
Yeah, the two bits you get are the main menu music and the login music, and the main menu bit just stops halfway through. Have a listen. I've not edited this, it just gives up. Enjoy that music, it's all you're going to get. Complete the quest, get the rune off to the Lost Lagoon, kill 5 liches. Why are they wearing Jordans? You're a skeleton. Feet bones do not look like that. By now, my inventory and rune bag are both filling up, encouraging me to spend real-world money to buy emeralds to buy more, but we'll look at the cash shop later. Next up, kill 2 dragons, and I'm noticing something. Quest enemies do not have specific locations they are found in. They just spawn wherever you are. So if you're doing the stand in the respawn circle bow trick, quest enemies will always just constantly spawn in a big circle around you, meaning yes, it's cheesy, but every single quest is basically the same process. Just shoot something and then kill it. Oh hey, more bugs. If your quest sends you to an NPC, you get a little arrow on your map showing you which direction to head. You'll notice it up there. However, notice that the arrow is pointing to the edge of the minimap. Now I read this as the NPC is far away in that direction, but that's not correct. The NPC is there, but the minimap arrow doesn't know what to do if you're so close to the NPC they actually appear on the minimap. The arrow can only ever be at the edge. Kill 10 Valkyries and then I need to summon Agony, a boss spider. And according to the wiki, this is the hardest enemy in the game, tougher even than the final dragon Bane. More health, faster attacks. Right, this might be the run killer. This might be a problem because I cannot lure Agony. Instead, quite the opposite. Agony has to lure me because she cannot leave her summoning circle. But hang on, if she can't leave, can I run in, hit her, run out, wait for my health and stamina to recharge, then just run in and do it again? Or can I just stand outside the circle and shoot her with a bow? Turns out, yes, both these tactics are fine. The boss cannot leave the boss arena, but you can, and your health refills while the boss's does not, so you can win any fight with hit and run tactics. Agony down, all runes acquired, make the Dragon Claw Scepter. Now, before we summon Bane, we must kill some wyverns. The issue is they cannot be hurt by any weapon other than the Dragon Claw Scepter. So you can't do the bow lore trick because they won't take damage from the bow, but you can use the Agony tactic in reverse. Run out of the circle, hit them, run back in, and they won't follow you. Just lather, rinse, repeat until they're all dead. With the wyverns dead, we summon Bane the Evil Dragon, who, just like Agony the Spider, cannot leave this circle. But Bane does have a trick. He actually summons ads outside the circle to prevent us doing this exact hit and run tactic. But this doesn't work, because if you just stand on the circle, nothing will attack you. Bane cannot attack you because you're not in the circle, and the enemies outside can't attack you because you're not out of the circle. Turns out the circle is just a safety circle. So you can kill the final boss dragon very easily with hit and run tactics, retreating to the circle edge. Now, killing Bane gets you the Dark Blood Sword of Chaos, which the wiki says is the best sword in the game. So I kill Bane twice and get 2 of them and dual wield them. And then I read the stats, and they are rubbish, because whoever wrote this wiki doesn't understand maths. A level 22 Dark Blood Greatsword of Chaos has a damage range from 1 to 186. That's a pretty big range. Dual wielding them gives you an average hit from between 2 to 372.
What the hell is wrong with
This range is
her pets?
186, meaning your average damage over time will be
For that matter, she really shouldn't bring her pets
dual wielding. The Dragon
in
Claw,
dungeons.
however, has a minimum hit of 71 and a maximum of 168, meaning yes, the maximum is 18 damage lower, but the minimum is 70 damage higher. So if you dual wield Dragon Claw Scepters, each attack will be hitting between 142 and 336. The value between these two values, the average, is 239. Meaning the average hit with dual Dragon Claw Scepters is way higher than the average hit with dual Dark Blood Greatswords of Chaos. And that's not including the fact the Scepter has additional magic damage based on your level, which the sword does not. Sorry to sound annoyed, but basically the best sword from the final boss is actually crap compared to the weapon you need to use to kill the final boss. Why did I get 2 of these? Range, by the way, is because weapon damage ranges change depending on what the weapon is. Great swords have the highest possible range. Then warhammers, daggers have the smallest, essentially hitting always the average. You're trading random chance for consistency. There's only one other quest which gives a rare weapon, and I can't do it because it involves killing some flags which spawn, and then attacking the flag spawns 2 assassins which will always chase you into the health circle, so I can't do this. I buy a scroll of Shadow Fey Vibro Blades, which means zigzaggy swords with cool changing colours, and then just keep bonking enemies to death with my orb on a stick. This is it. This is the game. I've shown you everything. It's an endless dungeon grinder to get better weapons to efficiently grind endlessly better. A final boss dragon which drops a mathematically terrible weapon, and 14 small identical maps with identical quests. I mean, there are 2 maps with boss arenas you can ask for a
Dang
boss
it.
to be spawned in, but they don't drop anything better or worse than a random dungeon gives. I give the classic overlay one last go and discover that you can press W and S together to dance. This is the best animation the game has. While in classic mode, holding left click moves the camera independently of character facing, but holding right click turns the character as you run, kind of like most other MMORPGs. But holding right click, you turn slower than the cursor moves, meaning if you keep turning, eventually the cursor is going to drift off the screen and there are no sensitivity settings. Also in classic mode, the whirlwind power attack only hits once, while in modern mode it hits twice, so it's objectively a worse system. Also in classic mode, open your inventory, click and drag on an item, and the camera will always move slightly, just a little bit, in the direction you're dragging. No need for this. Now the only thing left to look at is the cash shop. The Beast Chest is a loot box for random beasts, adding 2 months worth of that beast's retention timer. And if you happen to pull a beast you've already got, it increases their star power. What does that do? Don't know. Doesn't seem important. Never needed. The hero chest is the same for heroes, which I think are pets, but again didn't see anyone with one. But if you're not a fan of random gacha, you can just buy the beast, hero or mount that you want for emeralds from the shop. Just take a moment to realise that most things are just models of enemies in the game, and they cost either 80 or 120 emeralds, and emeralds are sold in packs of 100, 250 or 700. Also important to notice the wings in the shop. You don't have a flying animation, the wings flap, and the character animation is just the character body tilted forward 45 degrees. You can also buy an experience doubler, which lasts for 12 months, or more inventory or rune bags. Buying these would, however, mean you have to play the game more. That seems like a terrible deal. And that's literally everything in the shop. I'm not even mad, I'm just disappointed. This game is tiny. It's 21 years old. This game can drink. It released 2 years before World of Warcraft, and it has this much content. So after my 2 days of playing Sherwood Dungeon, I'm left thinking, where is the rest of the game? The combat system feels like the foundation of something that hasn't been fleshed out. The quest system is functional but incredibly basic. The UI overhaul from classic RPG to mobile clearly hasn't been quality controlled at all, and on PC is a worse experience. The shop is trying to be predatory but seems to forget that it has no prey, because everything in the shop is about improving a player's power level so they can access teleports to higher maps when you can do that already. And even when you do reach the highest map, it's mechanically identical to the lowest. You can see everything the game has to offer within 2 to 3 hours, and you'll be left wondering why I'm still here. You can watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Men in Tights in the time it takes to see everything this game has, and you would have a better time if you did. If you played this game as a kid, and you have a good memory of it, leave that memory alone. Don't come back here. There's nothing for you. Sometimes those remnants and artifacts of the past should stay in the past. Like the 1952 Story of Robin Hood film. Great if you watched it as a kid, but look a little closer as an adult and you'll notice the painted soundstage backdrop or the terrible costumes, and it will just ruin your memory of it.
元気になれって諦めませんよ元気になれ します。どうもです。それ力の真意、痛いですよ。
I can't bind it. Fuck.最後です。手を貸す。運命の女神はこちらに微笑んだな。珍しいですね。そう。勝てそうな相手ですね。 Holy shit.
ようです。我が力に敵を撃て。我が道を阻むものなどない。勝てそうな相手ですね。何？見切ったというのか。ダメでした。探す。運命に愛されたわ。どうぞ。はあ、珍しいですね。
Bruh, really? Ooh la la.
です。何を売るのじゃ？新製品がラインナップされたのじゃ。さて何にするのじゃ？
Ooh. TP gun,
買える
yes.
のかや？何にするのじゃ？毎度あり。
いらっしゃい。どうするのかな。 それじゃ聞かせてくれる？うん。あ、そう。受け取ってよ。
悪くない。
どれにすっか決まったかな？どうするのかな？しっかりね。
お客さん、朝までお休みだね。
Mag-mega level